Welcome to Biblical Handbook. Today, I'm diving deep into the rich narratives of the Bible to explore a profound topic: the 7 deadly sins in the Bible and the lessons we can learn from the lives of sinful characters. Join me as I uncover these stories through the tales of biblical figures. From Lucifer's prideful downfall to the prodigal son's struggles, these narratives offer timeless insights into human nature and the consequences of moral failings. So, let's embark on this enlightening journey together, discovering the transformative power of redemption and the enduring wisdom nestled within these captivating stories. Number 1. Pride. The fall of Lucifer. In the celestial realm, amidst the shimmering expanse of heaven, there existed an angel of resplendent beauty and boundless wisdom, Lucifer, the morning star. His radiance outshone countless celestial beings, and his station among the heavenly host was esteemed above measure. Yet, within this celestial splendor dwelled a seed of discontent, an ember that slowly kindled within Lucifer's heart. His magnificence and grandeur gave rise to a sense of unparalleled pride. As celestial melodies echoed through the heavens, Lucifer's heart yearned for something more, an insatiable desire to ascend beyond the confines of his celestial station. Driven by an audacious ambition, Lucifer envisioned a realm where he would reign supreme, transcending even the Creator's sovereignty. His prideful heart whispered deceitful promises of superiority and authority, convincing him that he could ascend above the Most High. Fueled by his hubris, Lucifer rallied a legion of angels, enticing them with promises of independence and self-governance. His charismatic allure and cunning rhetoric swayed a third of the celestial host to join his rebellion against the divine order. Yet, despite Lucifer's grandiosity, the Creator's wisdom and authority remained immutable. The celestial rebellion, led by Lucifer, clashed against the radiant throne of the Almighty, sparking an ethereal war that reverberated through the heavens. Alas, the outcome was foretold. Lucifer's pride, an abyss of arrogance, clouded his vision. In the cataclysmic battle that ensued, the rebellious angel and his followers were cast down from the celestial abode, their glorious wings singed and their radiance dimmed. Banished from the divine presence, Lucifer, now known as Satan, descended into eternal damnation, an eternal exile from divine grace. The story of Lucifer's fall stands as a testament, a poignant parable illustrating the catastrophic consequences of unbridled pride. It serves as an eternal warning, delineating the perils of aspiring to ascend above the Creator, a reminder that even the mightiest among celestial beings can succumb to the treacherous allure of pride. Number 2. Greed. Judas Iscariot and the 30 pieces of silver. Judas Iscariot, once counted among the closest confidants of Jesus Christ, walked the path alongside the revered teacher. His presence among the disciples bore witness to miracles, profound teachings, and moments of divine communion. Yet, within the depths of Judas's heart, a covetous flame smoldered, a longing for wealth that gnawed at the core of his being. As the treasury's keeper among the disciples, the lure of silver and gold ignited a relentless desire within him. The seeds of greed found fertile ground in Judas's soul when an opportunity presented itself. The religious leaders offered him 30 pieces of silver in exchange for betraying Jesus, delivering the teacher into their hands. Judas, ensnared by the glittering promise of wealth, succumbed to the temptation. His avarice clouded his judgment, blinding him to the sacred bond forged with his master. 30 pieces of silver, the weight of his betrayal, became the price tag for forsaking loyalty and succumbing to greed's alluring whispers. In the somber Garden of Gethsemane, amidst the moonlit olive trees, Judas sealed his betrayal with a kiss, an act that echoed with treachery and shattered trust. His heart, burdened with the weight of ill-gotten silver, now knew the bitter taste of regret. As events unfolded, remorse gnawed at Judas's conscience. The realization of his grave mistake dawned upon him, yet the repercussions were irreversible. The blood money clutched in his hands offered no solace, only torment. Consumed by guilt and grief, Judas faced the harrowing consequences of his avarice. The pieces of silver, once coveted, transformed into a haunting reminder, a haunting chorus of regret that echoed through the corridors of time. The tragic tale of Judas Iscariot serves as an eternal testament, a cautionary narrative etched in the sands of time, illuminating the treacherous pitfall of insatiable greed. It stands as a stark reminder that the pursuit of material wealth at the cost of moral values and spiritual alignment leads to a desolate existence, bereft of peace and fulfillment. Number 3. Lust, King David's affair with Bathsheba. Amidst the tapestry of regal tales and heroic feats, the story of King David stands as a testament to the frailty of the human spirit, a narrative fraught with the tumultuous interplay of power, desire, and moral collapse. David, the celebrated king of Israel, possessed valor that resonated in the tales of his triumphs over adversaries and his unwavering devotion to the divine. Yet, within the opulent chambers of his palace, a fatal flaw lay dormant, an unchecked longing that would sow seeds of calamity. One fateful evening, as David gazed upon the city from his royal abode, his eyes alighted upon a sight that stirred desires within him. Bathsheba, the wife of Uriah the Hittite, bathed in the moon's luminescence, her beauty a beguiling allure that captivated the king's heart. Driven by unbridled lust, David succumbed to the yearnings that gripped his soul. He sent for Bathsheba and yielded to the tempestuous passions that roared within him, indulging in an adulterous liaison that breached the sanctity of marriage and moral rectitude. As the days passed and the liaison bore fruit, Bathsheba conveyed the news of her pregnancy to David, a revelation that set into motion a dark and tragic sequence of events. Desperate to conceal his transgression, David devised a sinister plot to cover his sin. Summoning Uriah from the battlefield, David sought to manipulate events by urging the valiant warrior to spend time with his wife, hoping to pass off the child as Uriah's. However, Uriah's unwavering loyalty to his comrades and honor prevented him from indulging in such earthly pleasures while his fellow soldiers faced peril. Consumed by desperation, David's moral decline deepened. He orchestrated Uriah's placement in the front lines of battle, condemning him to a fate of certain death, a heinous act to conceal his misdeeds. The consequences of David's unrestrained lust reverberated with devastating magnitude. The tragic sequence of events that followed brought anguish and grief upon his household. Though David remained a beloved king, the shadow of his moral failure lingered, staining the pages of his legacy. The tale of King David and Bathsheba stands as an enduring parable, a harrowing testament to the destructive nature of uncontrolled desires. It illuminates the dire repercussions that arise when unchecked lust blinds reason and leads to moral decay, inflicting anguish upon the lives it touches. Number 4. Envy, Cain's jealousy and fratricide. In the dawn of time, amidst the genesis of human existence, a tale unfolds, an ancient narrative seeped in envy's venomous embrace, forever etched as a cautionary chronicle within the annals of history. Cain and Abel, sons born of the same lineage, stood as symbols of divergent paths, one marked by virtue and the other shadowed by envy's malevolent grip. As the two brothers offered their respective sacrifices to the divine, favor smiled upon Abel's offering, finding divine approval, while Cain's offering met with disregard. Within the recesses of Cain's soul brewed a tempestuous storm, an insidious envy that gnawed at his spirit. His heart, inflamed by jealousy over his brother's divine favor, became a breeding ground for bitterness and resentment. Blinded by his envy, Cain failed to grasp the sacredness of brotherly love and the sanctity of divine providence. Instead, a ravenous longing for what his brother possessed festered within him, distorting his moral compass and shrouding his heart in darkness. Driven by the festering envy that consumed him, Cain succumbed to a damning act, a fratricidal deed that reverberated through the corridors of time as the first recorded murder. In a fit of jealousy's malevolent rage, he lured Abel to the fields and snuffed out his brother's life, staining the earth with innocent blood. The repercussions of Cain's envy were irreversible, etched upon the fabric of human existence. The divine retribution marked him, condemning him to a life of desolation, a fate far graver than any possession he coveted. The tragic tale of Cain and Abel serves as an eternal warning, a cautionary parable that delineates the perilous consequences of coveting what others possess. It stands as an indelible testament, resonating across generations, illuminating the dire consequences of allowing envy to fester, unchecked and unbridled. Number 5. Gluttony, the prodigal son's reckless living. Amidst the treasury of parables and timeless teachings, the parable of the prodigal son shines forth, a narrative encapsulating the pitfalls of excess and the transformative power of redemption. In a land distant from home, a young man yearned for independence and the pleasures that worldly riches could offer. Impatient and heedless of wisdom, he approached his father, demanding his share of the inheritance, his eyes alight with visions of unrestrained indulgence. Emboldened by the promise of opulence, the prodigal son embarked on a journey into the depths of extravagance and excess. He squandered his inheritance on lavish banquets, fleeting pleasures, and extravagant living, a life fueled by the insatiable hunger for hedonistic delights. Yet, as his fortunes waned and the transient joys faded, the prodigal son found himself mired in destitution and despair. The reckless pursuit of pleasure had led him to a nadir, a desolate existence bereft of substance, where the echoes of indulgence reverberated hollowly in his soul. In the midst of his despair, a realization dawned upon him, a revelation born of humility and remorse. He yearned for reconciliation with his father, acknowledging the folly of his ways and the emptiness that gluttonous excess had wrought upon his life. With humility as his guide, the prodigal son embarked on a poignant journey, a journey that traversed the landscapes of repentance and redemption. His return to his father's embrace mirrored a transformation, a testament to the restorative power of contrition and the sanctity of familial love. The parable of the prodigal son serves as an enduring allegory, an evocative narrative that vividly illustrates the perils of gluttonous living. It stands as a timeless lesson, resonating through the corridors of time, highlighting the dangers of unrestrained consumption and the profound emptiness that arises from overindulgence. Number 6. Wrath, Jonah's anger and divine mercy. Jonah, a prophet chosen by the divine, received a harrowing task to journey to the city of Nineveh, a place steeped in iniquity and moral degradation. His mission: to convey a divine warning of impending judgment upon the city for its wickedness. However, ensnared by the tendrils of wrath and resentment, Jonah recoiled from this divine decree. Blinded by his anger towards the inhabitants of Nineveh and perhaps harboring his own preconceived notions of justice, he sought to evade the divine mandate. Fleeing from the divine command, Jonah embarked on a treacherous sea voyage, seeking refuge from the perceived injustice of extending mercy to the city that he deemed unworthy. Yet, amidst the tempestuous seas, a profound reckoning awaited him, an encounter with the divine's boundless mercy. Engulfed by a raging storm at sea, Jonah faced the imminent peril of his vessel's destruction, a consequence of his obstinate rebellion. In the depths of despair, he offered himself as a sacrifice, beckoning the wrath of the elements upon himself. However, divine mercy unfurled its radiant wings amidst the storm's fury. Jonah found refuge within the belly of a great fish, preserved in an act of grace that heralded a transformation, a realization of the futility of resisting the divine will and the depths of compassion that transcended human understanding. Emerging from the depths of the abyss, Jonah embarked once more on the path ordained by the divine. His proclamation of divine warning resonated through the streets of Nineveh, calling upon the city's inhabitants to repent and seek divine forgiveness. In an awe-inspiring turn of events, the city heeded Jonah's message, embracing repentance and contrition. Yet, even amidst the triumph of divine mercy and redemption, Jonah's wrath and resentment lingered, a lingering testament to the perils of unchecked anger and the struggle to embrace forgiveness and compassion. The tale of Jonah stands as an eternal parable, a poignant reminder of the destructive nature of wrath and the transformative power of divine compassion. It echoes through the corridors of time as a testament to the tumultuous interplay between human emotions and the unwavering benevolence of divine mercy. Number 7. Sloth, the parable of the talents. Amidst the treasury of parables and profound teachings, the parable of the talents emerges, a poignant narrative encapsulating the perils of sloth and the imperative of stewardship over bestowed gifts. A wealthy master entrusted his servants with talents, a measure of wealth reflective of their abilities. To one, he gave 5 talents, to another, 2, and to the third, 1, each according to their capacity. The master departed, entrusting his wealth to their care. The servants entrusted with 5 and 2 talents diligently invested their allotments, working assiduously to multiply their entrusted treasures. They honed their talents, nurturing them with diligence and wisdom, and reaped a bountiful harvest, doubling the wealth entrusted to them. However, the third servant, burdened by the weight of his singular talent, succumbed to the throes of sloth. He dug a pit, burying his talent, idly waiting for his master's return, devoid of initiative and investment. His inertia betrayed a lack of stewardship and a spirit paralyzed by slothful indolence. The master's response echoed with dismay and rebuke, a condemnation of slothful negligence. The servant's inaction and failure to invest and grow what was entrusted to him resulted in reprimand and forfeiture. His lack of diligence bore the brunt of the master's disappointment, a testament to the significance of responsibility and conscientious stewardship. The parable of the talents stands as an enduring lesson, an allegory echoing the importance of diligent stewardship over bestowed gifts and entrusted responsibilities. It serves as a stark reminder of the perilous consequences of slothful neglect, emphasizing the imperative of embracing diligence, responsibility, and proactive engagement with the blessings bestowed upon us. Epilogue. The path to redemption. As we draw the curtains on the chronicles of these characters and their tumultuous journeys, we find ourselves at the crossroads of reflection and enlightenment. Within the woven tapestry of their narratives, we witness the intricate interplay of human frailty and the timeless struggle against the allure of sin's treacherous grasp. Throughout the exploration of pride, greed, lust, envy, gluttony, wrath, and sloth, these characters emerged as vessels embodying the darkest recesses of human nature. Their stories, etched into the annals of time, serve as cautionary tales, chronicles eternally echoing the repercussions of succumbing to the 7 deadly sins. Yet, amidst the shadows that cloak their narratives, there exists a glimmer of hope, a beacon illuminating the path to redemption and spiritual enlightenment. It is a path paved with humility, repentance, and the steadfast pursuit of virtuous living. A path illuminated by grace and adorned with the virtues that transcend human frailty. The journey through the lives of these characters imparts invaluable lessons. Lessons not merely of the pitfalls of sin, but, more importantly, of the transformative power inherent in humility and repentance. Their narratives echo with the resonance of second chances and the eternal call to rise above one's faults, seeking a higher plane of spiritual consciousness. The 7 deadly sins in the Bible, lessons from sinful characters, serves as a guiding compass, an illumination of the human condition, offering profound insights into the complexities of moral choices and the transcendence from the shackles of sin. It stands as a testament, unveiling the profound potential for growth and redemption within every soul. May these narratives serve as a reservoir of wisdom, a source from which we draw inspiration to nurture virtues, cultivate humility, and embark on a transformative journey toward spiritual enlightenment. Let us heed the lessons learned from these characters, embracing grace, virtue, and compassion as guiding stars on our journey through the labyrinth of life. In the pursuit of virtue and the embrace of humility, may we find redemption, a redemption that transcends the constraints of our flaws and leads us toward a life adorned with grace, illuminated by virtue, and enriched with the luminosity of spiritual enlightenment.